Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome to Genesis Alpha 1. This game has finally gone live. I've featured this a couple of times on my channel already in pre-release. One with a 4-hour live stream, another one with a 6-hour live stream. That footage is still available on the channel if you want to go back and watch it. However, the game has now officially launched. It's went live earlier this morning. I have downloaded the day 1 patch with some bug fixes. And I have also gone into my game data and I have deleted out everything I did in pre-release as well. So I'm starting from scratch along with anyone who's picked up the game today as well. So I don't have any additional corporations unlocked. I don't have any of those really nice shiny quite powerful artifacts that I unlocked as well. I will be starting in the same boat as you guys. And we're going to jump in and we're going to start ourselves off on a Genesis mission. So a little bit about the game. This is a roguelike game. It's set in a near future ravaged by wars, corrupt regimes and devastating pollution. Influential corporations have created something called the Genesis program in a last-ditch attempt to save humanity. We have been sent to the Alpha 1 quadrant to set up a ship as a kind of an ark for humanity, in a way, to go in search of suitable Genesis planets. And once we find one and our ship and crew kind of meet the requirements for that planet, we can then initiate Genesis and set up a colony on the planet. Although that in itself cannot always be quite an easy thing to do. There can sometimes be a nasty mission that we have to clear on the planet itself before we can initiate Genesis. So we have to sort of move around through a randomly generated universe to try and find the resources and items that we need to improve our health, our strength, our weapon abilities, our ship capabilities, and our crew abilities as well. Every single member of our crew is a clone, including us. We start off with just human clones, but as we progress and find and encounter new alien species, we can sometimes obtain samples of DNA, which we can then infuse with human DNA in the cloning labs to create stronger, more powerful, more adept humans. So some might be physically a lot stronger, some might be a lot more intelligent, and some might have a nice good balance of the two. But they will all kind of have their own unique little traits and properties, and we will have to kind of hope that we can get a really good mixture of crew members as we go. We will also need to make sure that our ship can maintain a good enough atmosphere for all these different crew types as well. They don't all just breathe oxygen. Some of them are going to need various different types of atmospheres, and our ship is going to need to be able to produce that kind of atmosphere to support a hybrid crew if we do go down that route. So let's jump in and take a look at getting started and set up on a Genesis mission. So the first thing we need to do is choose a corporation to back us. You can see when we get started, you have initially just the survival guide. That's it. And then everything else is kind of locked off. Playing through the survival guide is the tutorial. And once you've done that, you will unlock level 1 of general ballistics, level 1 of superior genetics, and level 1 of Star Union. They are the 3 main corporations, and they each have 3 levels. So you start off with level 1 unlocked once you've gone through the tutorial. You choose which one of those you want, and they all have their own strengths and benefits. So general ballistics is a leading firearms corporation, so they're more inclined towards weaponry and weapon defense. Superior Genetics, obviously, very much the leading company in cloning, so you can expect maybe some benefits going through with clones on that one. Maybe not in the lower levels, but certainly in the higher levels. And then Star Union is a traditional steel powerhouse, convicted of illegal arms dealership. The corporation new focus is spacecraft. So as a result, with Star Union, you can see you actually start with quite a lot of resources. If we look at general ballistics, we get 15 modules to choose from and 23 units of resource. Superior Genetics 15 and 26. Star Union 15 and 38. So going with the Star Union ship is certainly going to give you a bit of a head start in terms of available resources. But a higher level General Ballistics would give you additional features such as an upgraded workshop, whereas an upgraded Superior Genetics playthrough would give you an upgraded clone lab, and so on and so forth. So they all have their own strengths and benefits, and they are the main corporations you can choose from. There are also 2 rogue factions in the game as well, the Mechanics and the Freeman, and you can see both of those are currently locked off when you first start. They're not even discovered when you first start. I kind of bumped into them very, very early on in my tutorial, which wasn't very good at all, but it did make them pop up on the screen. So these guys don't have any other additional tiers to go to, but they do start off with a lot of resources there. You can see the Mechanics start with 21 modules and 51 resources, the Freeman with 20 modules and 61 resources. So starting with one of those is going to give you a big head start in terms of how big a ship you can build. Also, the corporation you choose can have an effect on the number of artifacts that you can take with you and how much starting crew you can take with. We're locked at level 1, so we just get the basic 5 human crew, including us, and the choice of 2 artifacts, which we haven't actually unlocked any artifacts at all yet, so we'll have nothing to choose from there. I am going to go with Superior Genetics, because I have played with General Ballistics and Star Union through to a Genesis playthrough completion on those before, but I haven't with Superior Genetics before, so that's the corporation I'm going to go with. You can see this is our crew here. If we had additional crew slots available to us, we could choose from any clones that we had available in this starting selection, and we could stick those in there. Obviously we only have humans at the moment and we're maxed on our crew, and it's the same with artifacts. If we had any artifacts, we could stick those into here. We could choose up to 2 with a level 1 Superior Genetics, and we would have those right from the start. As I said, because I've been playing this a lot in pre-release, I decided to delete all of that out of my game data before starting this playthrough, so that I would start at the same point that you guys are starting at, just to make things a little bit more balanced, and we'll discover things at the same time if you're playing along as well. So let's jump in. Our mission is to safeguard the future of the human species by locating suitable planets for settling humanoid populations which will grow and flourish. At our disposal are Genesis starships and the advanced systems that they carry. As you travel through the galaxy looking for candidate planets, scan for resources to build your ships and collect genetic material to create crew member clones who possess attributes to allow them to survive yet discover alien environments.
Reached out for the stars, wanted to conquer them like they conquered Earth, and so they tried, and they failed, and in the end they made it into space. Inventors, engineers, pioneers, what an achievement. Humans, what a glorious species. But they also had developed some problems. Nothing serious, but still noticeable for some of them. And also for their planet. Resources began to fade. Natural biosphere was damaged. Pollution hit those penned up in the big cities. Earth became too small for them. Then their inventors created another miracle. A hyperdrive. Now they could reach not only Venus or Mars, but Messier, Andromeda, and even Alpha 1, a galaxy of suns and beautiful planets, a galaxy full of life, a place they could conquer next. Alliances of their greatest, most innovative corporations were forged, and Project Genesis was born. Large starships, arcs full of humans, were sent to Alpha 1. Their task? Finding new planets, new homes, for their genetic treasures. A new Genesis for humankind. Only their bravest, most tenacious commanders were chosen to lead these starships into the unknown. And you are one of them.
So there we go, our universe is being generated.
Welcome to the shipbuilding interface. Here you build and upgrade our ship.
And our universe is randomly generated every single time we start a new playthrough. We get a new random universe, so it's not guaranteed to be the same. In fact, it won't be the same when you go from one playthrough to the next. You will have a great degree of replayability because no two games should ever really be the same. You will have similar experiences in certain situations, but the actual layouts of your galaxy and where things are and where the resources are kind of located and what you find will be a different experience every time, which is always a good thing. So it's up for us to build our ship. There are certain key things we need to build our ship. You can see the first things that we have to do before we can get started is to build a greenhouse, a tractor beam, a storage, and a crew quarter. Now the greenhouse is needed because that generates the atmosphere that our crew breathe. That is probably the most vital component on the ship. Everything else can be rebuilt, but the greenhouse is a little bit different. I mean, you can build additional greenhouses. If a greenhouse is destroyed, you can replace it, but you need to have plants to put in them. And if you're early on and your greenhouse is destroyed and you don't have another one, or you have another one but you don't have any other plants, that's it. That's game over, effectively, because you won't have an atmosphere being generated on your ship. Without plants to populate a greenhouse, then you'll produce no atmosphere, your crew will all suffocate and die, and that'll be it. That'll be the end of your voyage. So the greenhouse is probably the most important module until you have a supply of plants, in storage. Because if anything happens to that and you can't replace it, that's game over. If a storage compartment goes down, you just lose a little bit of material if there's anything in it. If a crew quarter goes down, then your clones will start to get a bit sick and eventually will die off, but you can replace those, and you've got time to go and find more resources to build a new crew quarter. That's not a major issue. A tractor beam goes down, that's a bit more problematic. You lose one way of gathering resources, and in the early game, if you don't have a hangar, losing your tractor beam could be the end of your mission, because you'll have no way to gather resources unless you start sacrificing parts of your ship to claw back resources to build a new tractor beam. But the greenhouse is key. You lose the greenhouse early on and that's the end of your voyage, because you have no way of repopulating your atmosphere without fresh plants. So you need to take things into consideration when building your ship. Now you can destroy parts of your ship and then rebuild them, or to reposition them wherever you want. Don't do that with a greenhouse. That is the biggest piece of advice I can give you when building your first ship. When you're placing your greenhouse, make sure it's placed exactly where you want it before you actually put it down, because once you put it down, it immediately populates it with your starting plants. You destroy it to reposition it, that's it, you've lost those plants, and you will have no atmosphere in your ship and no plants to replace them. So yeah, that is the biggest bit of advice I can give you when you're first starting out, is make sure you know exactly where you want your greenhouse to go before you place it. You don't want to destroy it until you've got spare plants or spare resources to build another one. Right, our AI is going to talk underneath us while we're doing this, but I'm going to start with some corridors.
Available in different designs. Make sure you balance the ship's layout between
I'm going to throw some corridors out on one side. Now I like to build my ships in a symmetrical way, but that is not always possible. So I'm going to be a little bit different with this. Let's see. I need crew quarters.
Each crew member needs a slot in one of these.
See, do I want to go there or do I want to go across one?
If a crew member is sick or feels bad, you can most likely find them here.
Let's see. Let's figure this one out. I'm also going to put in, before I think about it, some connections down here. I want to have, coming down here,
this is
a workshop sort of in this space here, and a clone lab on the opposite side.
You can also configure the weapon.
So I need to figure out how many squares I need space-wise.
Assign engineers to the workshop in order to speed up research processes.
There we go, that should be enough. So now I can now put in my tractor beam in the right place.
The Alpha Quadrant is full of shipwrecks. Our tractor beam module is a fast way to acquire already refined materials. Materials will be directly moved to the ship's storage. No deposit and no refinery required.
Let's see. If I do that and then on the other side, how big's my biotank going to be?
All biomass you
Biotanks are quite big on this one. Okay,
Make
so
sure we always have enough biomass
that's where I want
installed
my
and biomass tanks ready. Biomass is the basic
my
material
quarters
for
to
every
be.
cleaning procedure.
Trying to space things out so it's going to be equally spaced, because I want to have another one there. And then on the end here, that is where I'll put my... Oh, actually, will it let me build that far out? Let's have a look. Can I get my greenhouse this far out?
The concept of cultivating
No,
plants
it's too
on
far.
board of our ship
Okay.
is central to the Genesis
So,
project. There is no
in that
technology
case,
known to us that can effectively store or even provide a vital biosphere for the full time of our endeavor. Different life forms also demand different biosphere components to survive on this ship. To compose a certain biosphere, we need special plants. Superior genetics cloning technology is not configured for the creation or reproduction of plants. This means that we need to protect our plants at all costs.
right, so I like to build my ships with symmetry. Just I find them easier to work with if I can mirror the layout on each side as best as possible. So I've got crew quarters in place. I've got my greenhouse here. I have got space for something to go in this block here, probably a biotank. I've got my tractor beam just here. Let's see, I still need to build storage. And I haven't got enough iron left. I've only got 1 iron left. I need 3. So I'm going to have to delete one of these quarters. I'm going to take this one out and know that I'll be putting it in that space when I get enough materials. Now I can put some storage in.
This is the refined storage module.
Where am I going to put my storage?
And will be stored here. Keep
I think
an
what
eye
I'll
on our
do...
refined storage capacity. If we run out of space, the refining process will be placed on hold. Our refined materials are the source for shipbuilding, weapon, and ammunition supply.
As a kind of a temporary measure, what I'll do is I'll put a little corridor off the back here. Let's put some storage either side of that. There we go. And that's it. That's our starting ship. It's a bit wonky. It's a bit one-sided. It's a bit weird. But that's it. That's all the major things that we needed to get in are done. We've got our greenhouse just here. In fact, let's just change the view. There's our greenhouse. There's our crew quarters. There's our tractor beam. And then our storage behind that. And then we'll start to duplicate that on the opposite side of our ship. Plus we can look to expand coming off this sideway and here into this lower section here. We can come off down here, and we can obviously do the same on the opposite side as well. We're going to be looking for enough materials to be able to build a workshop so we can build some weaponry. We need a biotank so we can start gathering biomass material, which we'll need for cloning. As a result of that, we're also going to need a clone lab and so on and so forth. And eventually we'll also want to get enough to get a hangar so we can launch away missions. And then we're going to need a deposit for anything that gets brought back, and a refinery to refine anything that gets brought back as well. So still a lot of stuff that we need for our ship, but this is the bare essentials that we do need to get us up and running. So let's start. I'm going to rename the ship. Now you can't do this, I don't think, with the joypad at the moment. You can do it if you have a USB keyboard though, as I do. And instead of the USS, we're going to go old school British. We're going to go HMS. And we're going to be called the HMS JBPG. Why not? It's not original, I know, but there it is. And let's launch our game. It's always, every time I see this sequence, it always reminds me of Alien and the waking sequence on the Nostromo. Every time.
New captain promoted.
And there we go, one of our clones has been assigned as captain, Captain Rhodes. Now if Rhodes dies, one of our other clones will automatically be promoted to captain, and we will assume control of that clone. And that will keep going until we run out of clones. So keeping our crew alive is important, because our crew are our extra lives. If we die, a crew member replaces the captain and we take control of that replacement clone. If there are no replacement clones, that's game over, and it's end of mission.
Job assigned.
So we need to make sure we protect our crew just as much as we protect ourselves, because they are our fallback, they are our salvation in case anything happens to us. So you can see I've quickly assigned a crew member to come in and work in here. Now this is our bridge. The purpose of working in the bridge is to scan everything in the system that we're in. So if you have a look here, this is the system that we're in right now. There are 2 planets, 3 planets even, and 2 debris fields, and they all have question marks because we don't know what's on there. Now someone working on the bridge will scan each of those items, and in fact, let's get 2 members of staff in here. And they will then discover exactly what is on one of these. So let's just wait and see what gets scanned first. And we'll see the question mark disappear on one of these items. I hope. There we go, the debris field. That's been scanned, and we've got sulfur on that, so we know exactly what's there straight away. We'll need to collect that with our tractor beam. If we back out of it, you can also see what they'll do is they will scan everything in the surrounding systems as well. Obviously, there's nothing in these systems here, but 5 items in there. Looks like 3 debris fields and 2 planets. This one here looks like 2 debris fields, 3 planets. 3 planets, maybe? Or maybe 2 planets, 2 debris fields, I think. And we also have a travelling merchant bouncing around as well, who we could trade with going forward. At the moment we don't have enough resources, we don't have any resources really to trade, and whatever we do get we're going to need to expand and improve our ship in terms of building defences, building extra modules and so on and so forth. So it's going to be a while before we do any trading, because anything we do harvest is going straight into improving the ship. We aren't going to have anything spare to trade, and some of the things that we can trade for can be quite expensive. But merchants don't always carry just resources. Sometimes you can see they carry schemes. This one here has 2, and schemes can be for new rooms, upgraded room types, or for clones or weapons as well. So there's a variety of different things that we could get, and they don't always have schemes. They don't, sometimes they just have resources. But there are more than one merchant bouncing around as well. So it's not just a case of this one is the only merchant we'll ever see. We will see other merchants, and they will have different wares as well. So right, let's go start collecting some resources. There is something else I want to kind of show you as well while we're up here. We have a couple of worker robots. These guys aren't really going to see much of these for quite some time until we get our hangar up and running. These are our collector bots. They're called Robotniks, and they will gather up any resources that we pull back off the ship and take them to a deposit. So they will collect the ore that we bring back, or any plant samples or anything like that, and go and stick them in storage. They will then also be used to transport stuff from a deposit to a refinery, so that we can then refine those ore materials and turn them into workable materials, which will then automatically get placed into our storage area. We do have a weapon rack as well. There are a few of these get dotted around in certain locations, mainly the bridge and the workshops. And you can see we have 2 barriers in here as a starting kind of stuff here. We've got some spare ammo for our laser rifle. You can see we have, what is that? Oh, that's our laser pistol. We have an X-ray caster. Ooh, that's quite a nice starting weapon. And we also have the laser rifle, which we're carrying right now. Let's see. If I equip my laser rifle and then pick up the X-ray caster, that replaces it. Do I have ammo available? Yes, I do. It uses the same energy cells as our laser rifle. Okay, so I wasn't expecting that. Wasn't expecting to get an upgrade, you know, a better weapon to start with. And if I come down here, the service tunnels run underneath the ship, but on the Superior Genetics ship, there's something hidden, something extra. A little stairway down here. And I don't know, but I think this might be the ship's AI, just sort of sitting here in this very comfortable armchair. I can't get in here, but we've got a robotic body just kind of staring off into space there. And all these data towers surrounding here. So I think that's the ship's AI that we hear talking to us. I haven't seen that on any other ship. It's only on this particular ship that I've seen it, because of this very large bridge. With this very kind of surreal sort of seating area around here. There's nothing on here at all to suggest this would be a bridge or a ship of any kind. We've got these just ornate little sitting chairs with reading areas with lamps and tables and books, and it just doesn't feel like the bridge of a starship. We've got a terminal just kind of out of the way, and it's more like a living room than anything else, so it's a bit strange. It feels a bit weird. And the only reason I spotted it was I was over this grate and I spotted these stairways down here, and I'm like, how do I get down there? And I went exploring and found it. There doesn't appear to be access, as I say, on a different corporation ship to get down there and find your AI. So I don't know if that's a unique feature for this particular company, but it would seem that way. And here is the survival guide for our tractor beam.
There are many shipwrecks in this area of space. You can gather refined materials with our tractor beam. Select space debris at the tractor beam's terminal. Wait for the materials to arrive on the ship. Ready your weapons. Aggressive life forms could emerge from the loot.
So this is why I was making sure I picked up these barriers. I want to make sure that we can isolate this room from the rest of the ship in terms of creepy crawlies that might get pulled back from our transporting. I'm not worried about the corridor down there, because that's just the storage, but this is the corridor to the rest of the ship. So I want to make sure that we're protected through here, especially seeing as we don't have any defense turrets yet. I want to block those areas off, and we're going to have to play, you know, defender down here if anything gets beamed aboard. So let's have a look, see what we have in the area. Assign staff. Now there's two ways of assigning staff. You can either quick assign a random member of staff to one of those slots with triangle, or you can move to the right hand terminal. You can see which staff are unassigned. You can see a quick overview of their species, their health, any immunities or abilities they might have, the atmosphere that they consume, and so on and so forth, and also their intelligence and resistance levels. And both of those are unassigned, so you can assign them manually that way, or you can use the quick assign and do it that way. Either way, you're going to be able to put staff in here. It's just whether you do it by choice or whether it just randomly chooses, you know, any available staff for you. And we're going to start beaming aboard the sulfur. The aluminium would be nice, but we need iron at this stage. The sulfur we will need when we get a workshop up and running. We'll need the sulfur to create turrets, which is why I'm grabbing that. And we can help speed up the process by jumping onto one of these available terminals and speed up the process of beaming this material on board in any room that has a sort of a staff interaction. So our bridge, our workshop, when we get one, you know, obviously the tractor beam, we can take over a terminal and we can help speed the process up ourselves by using L2.
Resources collected.
It's the same with the refinery as well. We can speed up how quickly material gets refined in there. The cloning lab, we can either assign staff to do it, we can do it ourselves with one of these terminals, or we can do both. We can get staff to work it, and then we can go and help out and speed the process up even more by getting involved ourselves as well. So it gives you some nice good options there. We're going to get through this sulfur. We're probably going to ignore the aluminium, as nice as it would be. because it would give us the ability to create a second greenhouse going forward. It's not really a priority at the moment, and we only have 2 storage units, so that means a total of 40 storage. Now it sounds like a lot, but it's not really that much, and we're going to have to hang on to this sulfur until we can build a workshop and craft the sulfur into a turret. So I don't want to leave this material behind. Don't want to have to come back for it again. As soon as we have the ability to craft a workshop, we'll need that sulfur, because we'll need the turrets. So our storage will fill up really quickly. And then if we come across lithium, then we'll probably grab that, because we'll need that to make additional energy barriers. And there we go. Creepy crawly. Making its way through. Just the one. No others with it. And the little light on my left wrist there, you can see I've got two things on my left wrist. I've got a number 100, that is my health, and then the light above it is my alien indicator. If there's an alien life form on the ship, then that light would be red, and if we're close enough, then it would also flash with a direction marker as well to indicate whether we're getting closer or further away from the alien, or which direction to head to go and intercept it. If it's green, there's no alien life, currently on the ship, so we're good. And we've run out of an active process, so we are done in this system. Now let's have a look. We can prioritize what we search for, so if we want to look for iron, we can do that, and anything in the system or even on the star map when we go back to the bridge that has the resource we're looking for will have a little exclamation mark. Now this is a planet and we don't have a hangar, so we can't go to that planet yet. We need a hangar and we need to launch an away mission to go to planets, but we can obviously target debris fields. So let's take a look around and see what we've got. We've got 2 debris fields here, one with sulfur, one with 11 iron. Ooh, yeah, I think that's where we're going next. Let's just check the other ones. 3 debris fields here, lithium, iron, and actually this might be a better option. That'll give us lithium for creating energy barriers, and lots of iron, so we can really expand our ship. Let's jump to that one there. So let's have a hyper jump. And there we go, we're in a new system. So let's see, we want to start with the iron. Again, we're going to help out just to speed the process up a little bit, but we'll be breaking off each time to keep an eye on what comes up.
Resources collected.
We've got a creepy crawly. And we've got a DNA sample and a bit of biomatter as well. Now the little green blob underneath my targeting reticule there, that's biomass. We don't have a biotank, so we can't store it there. But the clone samples, we can collect those, and you see we have sample 1 of 10 for the clones for mantis. Very similar values to humans, just uses a different atmosphere. We can't support those at the moment because we don't have the plants that we would need to create the atmosphere to support the mantis clones, even if we had all 10. Plus we don't have a clone lab either, so we couldn't even research the clone, let alone hatch the clones. Nor do we have a biotank, so we can't even gather the material needed to create a clone. The actual physical material. So we need a lot of iron to be able to basically add in those abilities and those facilities on our ship. We need a biotank to store the biomatter in. We need a clone lab to use the biomatter to hatch clones, to research clone types, and also just to heal our crew members as well. We need a workshop to be able to create and process sulfur and lithium into turrets and barriers. And I'm sure there's something else. Yes, we need a hangar to be able to launch missions. We need a refinery to be able to process any material brought back, and we need a deposit to store any material brought back as well. So there's plenty of things that we still need to build for our ship. So this iron is going to be a crucial kind of resource. We'll probably need a little bit of copper going forward as well. But to start with, iron is one of those kind of key resources. Now it's quite bountiful. It's not really one of those materials you will struggle to find. Iron is hugely abundant. Lithium and sulfur are pretty abundant as well, although not to the same degree. Aluminium is a little bit rarer. Aluminium only really needed for a few things, primarily greenhouses. Copper, again, it's not particularly rare, but it's certainly not as prevalent as iron. And again, you'll only need copper for certain buildings, at least in the early stages. As you start unlocking more advanced levels of your rooms, so like an upgraded version of a clone lab, for example, or an upgraded workshop, then you will need some more advanced materials as well. And then you have your really rarer materials like platinum and gold. They can be a bit harder to find. So that's a whole chunk of iron that we've beamed up so far. Oh, we've got a creepy crawly with a DNA sample, and we have a potential infestation as well. This green gas is indicative of an infestation brewing on our ship. We have to destroy that as quickly as we can. If it spreads, it can cause all sorts of problems for our ship. It can just take over the ship and cause a lot of damage to the ship, or, depending on the type of infestation, it can become a hatching ground for creepy crawlies to just run amok through your ship. Now, some will only stick to the upper levels. Some will also spread to the lower levels. So you really have to be very, very wary and keep an eye out. And they can pass through doors, in through the corridors into other rooms. So you can't just kill it when you see it and go, oh, that's it, it's taken care of. 9 times out of 10, that ain't the case. 9 times out of 10, it will spread throughout your ship, and even destroying it quickly isn't always going to do the job, because it can linger and come back and re-establish itself in the same spot if you're not careful. Oh, see there, that's why I wanted the barrier. Got something else as well. There we go. I'm quite sure why that was just kind of pausing just there, but I'm not going to complain. And they were obviously brought up through the tractor beam there. We've got a DNA sample out of one of them. Oh, DNA sample out of the other one as well. There we go. So up to 4 of the 10 samples needed for the Mantis clone already. It's quite good. But again, without having a biotank and a clone lab, it's kind of doesn't really do us much favours at this point.
Here you build and upgrade our ship. Modules can also be deconstructed.
So let's start off by putting in a workshop.
Or if you have other reasons to destroy them. Also, I recommend using this.
I'm going to put the workshop on this side, I think.
By accessing the ship now.
There we go. Have I got enough for a biotank as well? It's going to go into farming. I do. Let's put the biotank there, like that for now. I would ideally, actually, I might not put that there. What about a clone lab?
In cloning laboratories, new clones can be created and added to the crew. Thanks to superior.
Yeah, let's put a clone lab in just there. We'll put a biotank somewhere else. We'll have a biotank perhaps coming off this way.
With DNA we collect in outer space. This feature gives us the amazing option to create perfectly specialized beings for the Genesis program.
So, we have, I'll come this way, our clone lab,
Survival guide update.
Where we can create our new clones. Let's give you the little PDA info.
To increase or specialize the crew, you must clone new members using the clone laboratories. The better the lab, the more advanced your clones can become. If you find valuable alien DNA, you can enhance the crew further. Collect biomass and alien DNA from dead creatures with your collector. Build a biomass tank and store biomass for your cloning activities. Feel free to experiment with DNA and alien abilities to maximize crew efficiency.
There we go. And on the other side of the corridor is our workshop.
Survival guide update. Alpha 1 is a dangerous quadrant. Even the bravest pioneers will need top-tier weapons and defenses to survive this endeavor, and to lead the Genesis mission to success. In the workshop modules, you can research powerful weapons, search the galaxy for new weapon samples, and stock up your arsenal. Assign your favorite gun to the weapon racks. The racks will make the weapons available in several spots on board the ship.
And it's in here that we can create our energy barriers and our turrets. Now we have got some sulfur, and have we got some lithium yet? No, not yet. But you can see here, we can create 2 turrets. Now, again, we can assign a staff member. We don't have any available for a quick crew assignment, but I can manually assign somebody from the bridge. So let's choose Aguado.
Job assigned.
And reassign him here into the workshop. He will come in and he will start producing, you know, whatever we want him to produce in here. I'm actually going to manually build the turrets ourselves, just because it's quicker. But anything further going forward, we can get him to build them while we're busy doing something else, and then we can come and collect them when they're done. And there's our 2 turrets. So we'll take those out of there. We're going to get those set up in the tractor beam room. There it is. Oh, excuse me. So let's plunk a turret up here on the upper level. And we know stuff spawns in on the lower level. So let's stick a turret. Where shall I stick the turret? Stick it just here for now. Like that. And then it protects the energy conduit, which are you know, targets of choice for any creepy crawlies that come down here. They usually go straight for the nodes. Plus it also covers that barrier, so if anything goes out that way and gets held up by the barrier, the turret can take that out as well. It takes the pressure off us having to be here, although we'll still probably hang around in this area. Let's see, what else can we get? More iron and lithium. Let's go for the lithium first of all. And let's just head out of here for a second, like that. And let's see what else we need. So I want a biotank. I've got enough copper for one of those. The question is, where do I build it? That's one potential position. I might do that. I might put a biotank there. And then have another biotank on the other side.
Life form detected.
And then that should hopefully be enough. I suppose theoretically I could put the biotank up here. Like that. I think I'll do that for now. I may well reposition the biotank somewhere else, but for now we'll stick it up there. And that'll do us. So there's our ship so far. Very one-sided at the moment, as you can see. Oh, you can see we've got quite a few things that have come up there. A few creepy crawlies came up. And those red dots and the tractor beam. They're down here on a lower level. And now they've been taken care of. The turrets and the crew have taken care of them. So we actually have some biomass here. There we go, we'll grab that. And that now goes into our storage tank. So we can now start gathering the materials we need to research and create clones, which is good. And we can also use that material to heal our clones, you know, our existing clones as well, which is always a good thing. Just checking that nothing has snuck through. Infestation-wise, everything looks clean and clear.
Resources collected.
Was there anything else that we desperately needed? We've got the clone lab, so we can do the clones. We've got the biomatter, so we're good there. Got a workshop. We've got some storage, but it's not much. We could do with some more. I think we're okay for now. Right. Let's gather some resources.
Resource beaming.
So we've got 4 lithium here. We definitely want the extra iron. If we take a look up here,
Resource acquired.
you can see we've used up 7 of our 40 slots. But we've got enough lithium here to commission a barrier.
Processing.
There we go. So our clone over here, Aguado, will now start working away on that. Go on, off you go. I mean, they start working on it immediately, but sometimes they don't actually go straight to a terminal, but they will always go up, even if they're not physically at a terminal. There you can see the speed that one staff member kind of processes them at. And what you can also do is when you speak to your clones, if I just talk to Aguado, you can tell them, or you can discuss certain topics, but you can also rename your clones as well. And this is something I want to do. This is the HMS JBPG. So, you know, this is my ship, and I want you to be my crew. So if you would like to be on HMS JBPG, then do let me know in the comments. And what I'll do is I will build a list, like we did with City Skylines, where I created districts for you guys, or buildings, or features for you. I will do the same for you on this. I will allocate you onto a list. We'll just work through it bit by bit, and you will become a crew member on my ship. So whenever a new crew member is added in, the first person on that list will become the new crew member, and then we'll go down the list and keep going down. Crew will die, and when they die, that's it. That's they're dead, and your name will not be transferred to another clone. But we'll try and keep you alive as long as we can, and hopefully some of you will make it to the end of a Genesis mission. Not promising anything. There are some pretty scary things coming up on our voyage. But if you would like to be part of the crew of HMS JBPG, then as I say, let me know in the comments. I'll start building a list. I'll take the first 4, and they will become the 4 existing crew members. They will be renamed from the first 4 responses, and then the list will then determine, in order of when the request came through, the names of the next crew members as well. And if you would have a preference of a male or female clone, then you can let me know that as well. So when we do produce new clones, we can create either a male or female clone. I can't guarantee what race you're going to be. You might be human, you might be an alien hybrid. That's dependent on our ship needs at the time, but I will certainly make you either male or female based on your request, and the name of your clone as well. So we'll do that. I think that could be a lot of fun. Right, we've got all the lithium and the iron. Let's get the last of this iron from here. Let's go commission that extra barrier.
Processing.
There we go. Let's grab
Access granted.
that one from there. Let's put a barrier here. Just to stop anything attacking the conduits in the lower level here. It's a bit wonky. Let's try and straighten that up a bit.
Resource acquired.
That'll do. Okay, nothing else attacking us at the moment. That's good. No signs of infestations. Let's find a terminal. Let's help speed the process up.
Resource meeting complete. Resources collected.
In fact, one thing else I want to do as well is I want to recolor the ship. Let's try and go with the kind of ship-ish kind of, you know, channel kind of colours a bit, I suppose. So I'm going to do this by pressing the touch button. No, not touchpad button. L1 to pull up my PDA. And we're going to go to ship colouring. And let's see. Let's go with white walls,
Resource meeting.
white floors, and then is it green doorways.
Resource acquired.
Paint the ship. There we go. And hopefully, with white floors, we'll be able to see infestations as they spread as well. You can see here that gas has spread over here, so we're going to have a little infestation form around here. There it is. I can just see it. I've got another one just here. Oh, and this one hatches spiders. This one hatches quite aggressive spiders. So I want to make sure that this one's dealt with as quickly as possible. Oop.
Resource beaming complete.
Another bit spawning in just here, look.
Resources collected.
And over here as well. See, we just cleared it from here and it's coming back already, look. I can't actually see in its early stages. Now it's spawning over here again. There it is. This is quite an aggressive, and it can spawn underneath as well, so I need to check the underneath levels.
Resource beaming complete.
But this is quite an aggressive
Resource acquired.
infestation, so I need to make sure that this doesn't spread throughout the ship. Oh. Something came through. We've got another DNA sample there. There's the telltale gas. So we still have that infestation to deal with. It's just there now. There we go. And over here as well. Is that up or above? Up or down? I'm not seeing anything below. It's up. There's still gas up here, look. It's bouncing around in the room still. It's going to respawn here, look, in an area. We've already killed it twice. It just is really, really stubborn. Has it got through here yet? Does not appear to have come through this way. That's good. What about the other way? No, seems to be okay. I think we might now have finally cleared that infestation.
Resource acquired.
I'm not seeing any more of it. We'll check the corridors one last time. And the storage rooms as well. And they look good. Let's check underneath. All looking okay. Let's check this way. Looks okay. Yep, we're clear through here. And just double check through this door. Yeah, we're all good through here. So, disaster potentially. Well, I say disaster. It's a bit early to say disaster, but you know, crisis averted. We have stopped a potentially very virulent strain of infestation spreading through the ship, which would have hatched spider creatures, which would have just run amok and destroyed all of our power node connections, which could have caused major structural integrity problems for the ship and potentially scuttled the ship. So, not a disaster, but certainly a potential crisis. See, let's just see those mandibles twitching there. There's no DNA for us to grab. There's no biomass. Bit of a shame. Let's continue to beam up the rest of the iron, and then we'll move on to another sector, another system.
Resources collected.
Nothing's come up. Okay, that's fine. And that's it. No active process means we have claimed the last of the iron from this system. Let's head back to the bridge. Let's find, and doesn't it look bright and cheerful in here now? Now that we've changed the colour of our ship. Let's find another system. We've got iron ore there. It's not iron that I'm looking for now. It's, I suppose, yeah, we could probably do with more iron, but at least we know we've got some in the next systems. I don't really need anything highlighting at this stage. But we are going to move up to this one here.
Warning. Prepare for hyperdrive.
There's our hyper jump. You see the slightly different glow of light out the window there for the system that we're in. Just turn my torch off. Let's move through to here. Is this where we started? Oh, this might be where we started actually. So we've got aluminium here. How much space do we have in storage? Yeah, we've got enough. We'll grab that aluminium because that'll be useful for creating a second greenhouse going forward. Plus, if something does happen, and we need to build a new greenhouse quickly. At least that'll give us the resources. We won't have anything to put in it, but at least we'll have the resources.
Access granted.
I'm going to take that barrier, we'll keep that with me at all times.
Resource being
So we're going to grab the aluminium out of this system, and then once we're done here, we'll move on to another new system. Let's help speed the process up.
resource beaming complete. Resources collected.
So that's what, 2 bits of aluminium. We've got 4 more, including this one then.
Resource beaming complete. Resource acquired.
Nothing sneaking its way up.
Resource beaming
There we go.
complete.
Quite useful to have maybe a little bit of copper in reserve going forward as well, so that we can use that to craft a few different things. You know, a reactor needs copper, and as we continue to expand our ship, we are going to need to start putting reactors in to boost the power levels
Resource
available to us. But for now, we've got more than enough.
Resource beaming complete. Resources collected.
And there we go. I think that's everything. I think that's the last piece. Yeah, no active process. So, let's go find another system. Find some more resources to grab. We're probably going to want... Let's see. Let's have a jump to this one. We haven't been in this system yet, so... Hyper jump to this one, and I will see you with some more Genesis Alpha 1 very soon.